Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to give some thoughts about small towns versus big cities, and I've lived in a small town, and I've lived in big cities for roughly equal parts of my life. Now, I kind of am breaking it down like this. I say the city ain't friendly, but it's fair. The sticks ain't fair, but they're friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the World According to Kyle podcast. What do you guys think? Do you think that is on the spot? Do you think that is off the marker? I don't know. I think that I think that it rings true. I think that the sticks is kind of a lingo that chaos K dash OS, one of my favorite Toronto-based rappers, came out with. And I find that to be true. I find that the city, generally speaking, is not friendly as the sticks. And The sticks are very friendly, but they're not fair in how they treat you, and that you have to kind of tout a certain ideologies that or a certain way of being that they think is important. And it's really telling about small town Canada. It's like you know, you go up to some guy and he's complaining about the housing prices in Toronto, and you know he's from a different country, and the housing prices are so huge in Toronto. Is like, how am I going to afford this? I go, well, you can live in a smaller town in Canada. Uh, he's like, yes, they're mostly white people in this small town. Yeah, but if I stay in Toronto and my brother and my wife all get second mortgage, maybe we can swing it. Like the idea of living in a small town for him just has not even crossed his mind. He would rather pay three times as much to live out here, where there are actually people around him who um, aren't super racist, which is and hey, even I don't want to fucking be around small town racism nowadays. So who am I? Who am I to blame an immigrant for not wanting to go into small town Canada, especially now with the rise of neo Nazis and right wing white supremacy and bullshit like that. Like, I kind of miss the days where you get punched in the face for wearing a swastika, but apparently that isn't right now. As you have probably seen by the rampant amounts of swastikas at the truck convoys of recent memory, and I think this is going to be the Good Joe, Bad Joe edition of the World According to Kyle podcast. So we're going to talk about a good Joe, and we're going to talk about a bad Joe. Even though on last podcast I did far too much talking about the bad Joe than I had cared to, but we didn't cover absolutely everything. So without further ado, let's get into it. But real quick, just if you want to get a hold of me on social media, on the internet, you can find me on YouTube at Kyle Max. You can find me on Twitter at Kyleverse. You can find me on Instagram at KyleMax86. You can find me on Facebook at Kyle Max and on Reddit at TWA2K. Who? What the fuck is up? Oh, feeling good, feeling great, because the Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. Oh my God, my favorite team, my squad has finally made it to the big dance and caught me completely by surprise, which is hard to do. Considering the amount of money I've been dumping into crypto, I have eased off on my football betting in favor of going towards the higher upside of crypto. So I've scaled back on a lot of my having like a specific sports broadcast, but we will still address sports because I love them, and they're sports can sometimes be a reflection of life and reality, and oftentimes I find there are really great heroes to look at in the sports world, and one of those heroes, the good Joe, is Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. And I have just completely enjoyed, like, that's how I know I love football, is something where I can watch and not have any money in and not have any vested interest in, but I can still watch and love. Now, one other show that I watch a lot is the Cult of Dusty, and he says football is boring. Now, football is so far from boring. I don't know how you can think that it's a boring game. There's nothing boring about football. It's aggressive and it's manly and it's fast paced and it's entertaining. There's it's got that perfect balance of of intellect and grit and physicality, and it kind of all meshes into just such a beautiful game, such a amazingly well thought out game. So let's tap into the meteoric rise of Joe Burrow. I have two Joe Burrow jerseys right now. I had the white old school Cincinnati jersey with Burrow. That actually was a jersey he was wearing when he suffered his ACL MCL injury versus the Washington football team. And now I also have the black new school Cincinnati Bengals jersey of Joe Burrow. So big fan of this guy. He kind of came on out of nowhere, like I was aware of him and I was aware that he transferred to LSU from Ohio State. And I got a lot of Michigan friends. I got a lot of Michigan Wolverine friends who are haters of Ohio State. I've always liked Ohio State Buckeyes. Michigan is starting to come on right now, but I've always valued the commitment to excellence that Ohio State has had, in that just Ohio has a lot of football players and a lot of great football talent comes out of there. So I've actually not respected Michigan football until very recently, and you can tell by some of the draft picks that have come out of there. Hutchinson is going to be one of the first picks. They've really started to turn it around and become like an elite program with potential to win a natty. but Joe Burrow is in Ohio, the slums of Ohio, Athens. He grew up very poor, didn't have much, and his his rise has just been absolutely unprecedented. Like when I was watching that last season for LSU, like the point spreads were starting to get a little ridiculous. And I couldn't really bet them, but I'm just like, I'm not taking the plus points because I am staying out of the way of this fucking freight train. and they ended up going on to win the Natty that year and beating Alabama. And there's a meme going around about when Joe Burrow became Joe Burrow. So they were playing, I think, a bowl game versus UCF, and there was an interception, and Joe Burrow was going back to coming back after the interception to try and tackle the ball carrier, and he got a brutal blindside block and got fucking knocked on his ass. He was on his knees, attempting to get his shit together to get back up, and the guy for UCF spit on him while he was on the ground. And after that is LSU was perfect. Never lost a game after that. And you hate it while it's happening, but sometimes you can really grow to love that chip on your shoulder. And right now, Joe Burrow has a chip on his shoulder, and he plays like he always has a chip on his shoulder. And that is what you need to do. That is what Tom Brady does. Tom Brady still feels slighted by getting drafted in the 6th round. He still feels that. It's not good to be just a spiteful, vindictive fuck, but having a chip on your shoulder and having a chip on your shoulder just helps you be able to lay everything on the line when you need to, because sometimes that's what you need to do. And I find it kind of funny when Green Bay played the Cincinnati Bengals. And Green Bay won in overtime largely because Evan McPherson shanked a winnable field goal, which, I mean, now he would have made that and Green Bay would have lost the game. But I find it when Aaron Rodgers at the end of the game said to Joe Burrow, he's like, man, sometimes you just got to slide. Sometimes you just got to go down. You know what? Who's in the fucking Super Bowl right now? Joe Burrow is, okay? Maybe Joe Burrow should be the one giving you advice, Aaron Rodgers. Maybe sometimes you shouldn't be such a wuss and you should go and fucking pick up those yards like a man and fucking not throw the ball away. That is, when Joe Burrow made that play on 3rd down where he was eaten up by defenders, he shakes them and he kicks it out to the left side, and then jumps through the outstretched arms of the would-be tackler and goes and reaches out and picks up that 1st down. Man, if you are a player on the Cincinnati Bengals and you see your quarterback doing that, you will fucking die on the field before you get embarrassed. And it's little things like that when your quarterback is not a little bitch and he will absolutely do everything and fucking lay his life on the line to win the game, you will fucking run through a wall for that guy. So, I find it really ironic right now that Aaron Rodgers is not in the Super Bowl and Cincinnati Bengals are, and it's Aaron Rodgers that's trying to give Joe Burrow advice, and it's everybody that's saying Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league and he's going to win the and he's going to win the MVP. Well, I think my man Joe Burrow has something to say about that. And, Cincinnati has its deficiencies, okay? Cincinnati, has the number 30th overall offensive line, okay? They have overcome that because of Joe Burrow. What do you think Aaron Rodgers would be doing if he had the offensive line like that? He would be complaining like, I don't have enough time to. No, you have to deal with the situation that you were put in, and you have to make the most of it. Joe Burrow is absolutely inspiring individual. I cannot wait to see more of him in the football league. They have no business being here. The Cincinnati Bengals do not have any business being here. And that's the thing, is that they were given opportunities and they capitalized on them. Like they should not have been in the Super Bowl, but they're gonna try their ass off and they're gonna fight every single play. And if you give up an inch, they're gonna absolutely take it. And that's what they did. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by the way the defense has stepped up also, and the guys we've got on defense. Fucking Hendrickson, Hubbard, even Eli Apple, incredible play. Jesse Bates, oh my God, Jesse Bates. Oh, what a play when he tipped the ball in overtime to Hilton. Absolutely won them the game. And Eli Apple came in for and almost picked off Patrick Mahomes on second down after they went to the drop 8 strategy. Now, the task at hand that Cincinnati has with the Los Angeles Rams is monumental. So the LA Rams have the number 1 pass rush, and Cincinnati has the number 30 offensive line. So, we're talking guys like Von Miller. We're talking Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald. Von Miller, former Super Bowl MVP. If you could have said to me, who would you least want? If you would have said to me, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be in the Super Bowl, who would you least want them to play? It would probably be the Los Angeles Rams. I was going for San Francisco in the NFC Championship game because of this. I wanted them to win because I thought San Fran would have been a layup. Cincinnati's defense would have absolutely feasted on Jimmy Garoppolo. Like San Fran needs to figure something out because that's not working. But we got Joe Burrow, and we got a great defense that's playing out of his ass. I'm really I would take the plus points. I do not think it's going to be a blowout. But it's a bad matchup nonetheless. But the thing is that Cincinnati Bengals are playing with house money. So regardless of the result, things are looking really great. And the number one thing that will feed into that is that the Bengals have one of the best cap situations. So they've made it to, even if Cincinnati just beat Oakland, they're going to attract free agents. They're going to attract those offensive linemen, free agents that they need to fill those holes. The players are watching. The players are seeing Joe Burrow, pull rabbits out of the hat and watching him like literally perform fucking miracles on the field, winning games that they have no business winning with Evan McPherson and a solid defense. Cincinnati is going to attract free agents. We are playing with house money at this point, and Cincinnati has absolutely capitalized on every single one of those opportunities. Like I said, you're giving them an inch and they're taking it. So the Bengals having a great cap situation. Now, number one is that they have to re-sign Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is fucking incredible, man. He is the he is the leader of the back end of that defense, like of the coverage in that secondary. And he fucking makes it all work together with the like safeties are super important. I love Chidobe. Hilton's solid. Even fucking who was that guy that they picked? Eli Apple. Even Eli Apple has some great plays. So I mean, but we need to re-sign Jesse Bates. Do not fuck up and let this guy go like they let William Jackson go. We need to sign Jesse Bates to a major fucking contract. He deserved it. Then after that, you spend all that money. They have the best cap situation in the NFL. You spend all that money on an offensive line, and all like if literally that's all they do. If literally that's all they do, sign Jesse Bates, go through the draft like they normally go through the draft, maybe pick up. They can even fucking draft an offensive lineman every single round of the draft. Boom, problem solved. Offensive line solved. Re-sign Jesse Bates. I mean, who would you pick over the Bengals if they had their offensive line fixed? If they had a stud offense? I mean, I'm not picking it. I'm not picking against them. They got an elite offense. Chase was everything that they expected and more. The only thing that I'm worried about, to be honest, is Zach Taylor. Man, and Cincinnati has the Bengals have missed out on opportunities to capitalize in the first half, and like every single possession in the first half was like first down run, and they're not catching the defense off guard. Zach Taylor is too slow to adjust and adapt without having the halftime space in between to do so. If you need the space in between the halftime to adjust, and granted, they had a major adjustment that they needed to do on defense. They had to drop 8, which ended up working phenomenally. They had to drop 8 against Mahomes, which ended up working great. Now that was the adjustment they needed to do. The adjustment they didn't know they needed to do was picking up more on first downs and giving, like, the defense knows you're going through the air on second and third. You're not going to catch them off guard on those downs. You're going to have to make a play that's well covered, and they can do that, but you're missing out on a lot of opportunities to capitalize if you're just going to run every single first down. Like, literally, I was calling it out, like, first down run, short pass on second, and a longer pass on third. And that was literally boom, 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 A, B, C, exactly what was happening on the offense until the second half. And you have to mix it up a little bit more. If literally the game should not have been, the Cincinnati should not have lost so much ground in the first half. It was just the offense's failure to start. It's like Taylor. I like him. He's great with his back to the wall, but he has to always be in the mentality like his back is against the wall. You're just letting, okay, we're going to lose this half and then catch up in the second half. You had the opportunity to catch up in the first half. You just kind of let it go. You let it slip by the wayside. So those are my only worries about the Cincinnati Bengals. I want to see every single motherfucker that was telling Joe Burrow he should hold out, that said don't go to Cincinnati. I want to see all these motherfuckers apologize, because they owe the Cincinnati Bengals organization an apology for calling them dysfunctional. You think they're dysfunctional? Have you seen the Miami Dolphins recently and what they're going through, paying $100,000 their coaches to lose? And Cincinnati Bengals are the fucked up organization. And I said this. Go back to my podcast, fucking episode 3 or 4 or 5 or something, where I said the Cincinnati, where I told you guys that Cincinnati Bengals are my team, and I do not think that they are dysfunctional as Miami Dolphins. Wow, how true was that? And I said specifically that that if it was the organization's foresight that they felt that Andy Dalton, they were not able to win a championship with him, and so that's why they didn't do the re-signings, and they needed a better quarterback situation, which led them to Joe Burrow. I would have said yes. I kind of liked Andy Dalton, and I thought maybe he should have been given more of a shot. But ultimately, I think that was the right move. Dalton had Dalton was. Literally, they came up with the Dalton scale as a scale to assess whether your quarterback is average or not. And I just think and I just thought, like I said before, the Cincinnati Bengals have a sense of identity, and the Miami Dolphins do not have a sense of identity. We're talking about a team that ran the Wildcat for a season and are completely lost. And now let's transition into the Miami Dolphins situation right now, with the firing of Flores and the Rooney. Now, rumor has it that Brian Flores was banging the table for Justin Herbert, and then the GM overstepped and took Tua. Now, let me just put this out there. I do not feel that there are 10 better coaches in the NFL than Brian Flores. I think that I think you would be hard pressed to come up with a better 10. And if the Rooney Rule is in place just to bring up appearances, like the NFL is considering black coaches when in fact it's not, then the Rooney Rule needs to go, and it is a failure. Brian Flores should be coaching a team right now. I would be more than happy to have him on a team of mine. Let's go through real quickly what some of the coaching hires were. All right, so the Jags hired fucking Doug Peterson. Now, I kind of have mixed feelings on him. He did win a Super Bowl. He looked really bad in that thing with Jalen Hurts, how he fucking benched Jalen Hurts for Sudfeld or whatever the fuck that guy's name was, when in order to move up one draft position. That was fucking embarrassing. The Vikings hired Kevin O'Connell. I actually don't disapprove of that. Because I think Vikings need an offensive guy. I thought that's why Zimmer was bad for them. They got a very offensive team. They need to tap into their offense ability more than play a more vanilla offense and really focus on the defense, because the dynamics of the Vikings have changed in such a way where they're more offense heavy. So they need an offensive guy. The Raiders, was it Josh McDaniels? Who else? What else? Dable going to the Bills. Now, Dable going to the Giants. Sorry. Eberflus. Where did he end up going? Eberflus went to the Colts, I believe. Or no, he was the defensive the defensive coordinator for the Colts. Bears. Eberflus went to the Bears. That was kind of surprising. I thought that Flores would have been a really, really good fit for the Bears. But now, I was one that thought that Colin Kaepernick situation was different than this Flores situation. Colin Kaepernick, you could not say he was a top 10 quarterback. He was startable, but the drama that he caused by his protest, was, it was more probably than it was worth, considering, like, the San Fran team that he took to the Super Bowl was more about San Fran and less about Colin Kaepernick. He was good, don't get me wrong, but I cannot say the same thing about Kaepernick as I can say about Brian Flores, where Flores is a certified top 10 coach. And for him to go into an interview with the New York Giants knowing that he's not going to get the job, for him to go into an interview with the Denver Broncos, and John Elway shows up hungover and completely dismissive of him, that's a little embarrassing. I mean, Brian Flores is, for him to do what he did, like, that was probably the most success that the Miami Dolphins have had in, like, the last, since fucking Dan Marino. This guy's over here making fucking chicken salad out of chicken shit, and he's not getting a job. Now, the NFL has to address that. And personally speaking, I feel that Byron Leftwich would have been a better head coach hire for the Jacksonville Jaguars than Doug Peterson. Now, maybe Peterson's a guy. Maybe Peterson is a guy for Trevor Lawrence. We'll see. But I mean, I would have absolutely loved Byron Leftwich. I loved watching him play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought he did a great job with Tampa, but we'll see. I cannot say the same thing about Byron Leftwich as I'm able to say about Brian Flores, but it's a shame. Like, and the Rooney Rule has just turned into like a mere formality, and you did Flores dirty. You guys did Flores dirty. He should not be treated with such disrespect that you're going to hire someone else instead of him, and yet you bring him into interviews, or you show up an hour late to your interview with him, and you show up hungover and completely dismissive of him. That's embarrassing. That's fucking embarrassing. He has more grounds to sue the NFL than Colin Kaepernick did. Oh man, what a terrific divisional round of the NFL. The KC and Cincinnati game, like, it was just, that is fucking football, man. That is just like, football's just, you need luck to go your way. You can never give up, and you always got to seize on your opportunities. Now, a lot of fuss was made about the overtime rules when KC won against Buffalo. But then the very next week, Cincinnati went and showed you do not need to win a coin toss. You just need your defense to step up. And, I was saying for a while, before, like, I knew a situation like this was on the horizon, where there was going to be two great offensive teams. There's going to be two great offensive teams, and one of them's going to win the coin toss, and that one is going to win the game. But when you think about it, do we really want to go to college rules? Do we really want to have like a 70 to 80 score in the Kansas City Buffalo game? Uh, I don't know, man. That's going to leave a lot more injuries probably than it's worth. Like if you play an additional 2 or 3 quarters more in a playoff game. So what's the solution? You give both teams one possession. Okay, well, you give both teams one possession. They both score, then the advantage still goes to the person with the coin toss. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. It seems okay right now to me. Like I don't think it's really all that bad. You have a coin flip. The advantage goes to the coin flip, but I mean, your defense has to make a play. If your defense makes a play, then all of a sudden you get a 75% advantage, which the Cincinnati Bengals showed. I mean, everybody touts the Buffalo Bills defense as some like, oh, great, they're great defensively. They got bombed on by Mahomes. Cincinnati kept them in check. So I think you know I think we're making a big deal out of nothing. Whereas before, I thought the NFL should adapt the college rules, but it's kind of silly. I mean, like starting at the 30-yard line, I understand why college does it and giving equal possessions, but I mean, your defense just has to make a play in the NFL. Like defense is a lot more emphasized than in college. So, you tell me, you come up to me with a solution because I don't know it. I think right now it works okay, and that was proven. All right, that's it for Coach Talk. I'm gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back with more TWA2K. All right, we're back with the TWA2K. Yes. Now, since this is the Good Joe, Bad Joe podcast, I figured I'd lead with my best foot forward. This podcast is not brought to you, by the way, Crown and Coke, which is what I am enjoying on my day off of menial warehouse work. So I'm sitting here on this lovely Saturday afternoon, enjoying myself. Every king deserves his crown, and Coke, and it really enjoying my weekend off and bringing to you this wonderful podcast for you guys to enjoy. Now, since we started with the Good Joe, since we led with our best foot forward, now the Bad Joe, which was formerly the Good Joe, if you would have asked me, like a year and a half ago. The Bad Joe, Joe Rogan. Man, where to start? Let's start with the grift, okay? Now, let me preface this with saying, so I'm noticing right now a lot of similarities between Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan does platform Alex Jones at times. And I know that he listens to Alex Jones. Now, Alex Jones was part of the new media before when the internet started getting popular, but didn't hit the peak of the popularity that it is in today. Trust me, I was knee deep into the internet then. The internet was a very scary place back then, filled with everything that was there was conspiracies. Can you believe this? Can you believe that? Money isn't real. Like fucking satanic rituals. You can't trust anything. The internet was a super scary place back then. But more light has been shed on like the situations, and I don't think it's all just, we're being controlled and mind fucked, and the Bilderberg group is, fucking planting microchips in us and turning the frogs gay. Yeah, like, I mean, Alex Jones went too far over the edge. And what Joe Rogan is doing right now is comparable to what Alex Jones was doing back then. Now, let me explain to you the grift, okay? So Alex Jones, he made like something like $155 million from his online store where he sells supplements that are going to that are not going to turn the frogs gay, and that are going to really, make you a manly man, and all that shit. So the guess guess what the when Alex Jones was getting the highest amounts of volume to his store for supplements and shit. Did you guess? Guess which time period that was? When Alex Jones was getting the most amount of money, the highest volume attracted to his fucking Alex Jones InfoWars store or whatever. It was during the Sandy Hook massacre, the Sandy Hook shooting at the school. What was Alex Jones doing during that time? Well, let me refresh your memory. He was saying that the Sandy Hook school shooting was a false flag operation that was government staged. And the parents of the children who were murdered in the Sandy Hook massacre were, quote, crisis actors, unquote. So Alex Jones was profiting the highest when he was speaking the most heinous, ludicrous, conspiratorial, tinfoil hat fucking bullshit that has ever been fucking said on this planet. He was fucking profiting the most from it. Now, let's draw some lines. Oh, hey, Joe Rogan has his own supplement store, his own On It store, where he sells alpha brain bullshit and fucking supplements and all this shit. And what's happening right now? Joe Rogan is coming against vaccines and saying So this is a fucking grift. Can't you fucking people see this? The reason that he is saying all this shit is because it's profitable to him. It's not the truth, but people want to hear it because they're fucked up in the head and they want to believe that conspiracies are running the government, and that even though no doctor would agree. Well, 1% of the doctors would agree with them. Let's just play up that 1%. Let's play up that 1% and cater to these people's insecurity and these people's inability to deal with reality, in saying that the world is a conspiracy. So, you want to say, okay, well, Sandy Hook is different from the coronavirus. Fucking million, over 900,000 people died in U.S. alone. Okay, and the death rates are not consistent in the U.S. And I said, somebody saying, oh yeah, I guess how many deaths is Joe Rogan to blame for? I don't know, since most of his memes are the ones getting shared by these dead motherfuckers from COVID. I would say he's getting that he's responsible for a large portion of the deaths. since he's the most popular podcast, and he's presenting the counter argument towards vaccines the hardest. And it's like I went into this a lot, so I'm not going to go into the stuff that I went into in the prior podcast. If you want to listen to TWA2K 13, where I talked about all that, but this is a grift. He's literally profiting off of misinformation, and he's not going to stop. And now he's starting to apologize and shit, but he's not going to win back guys like me. There are certain lines that you just do not cross, and getting more people killed during a pandemic because you're, quote, asking questions for 2 years while available data is accessible, while available scientific data is accessible. Apparently that's crossing the line for me. I didn't know that before, but now I know that is a line that if you cross, I'm not going to follow you on. And which is weird, because if you would have asked me a year ago, I was ready to buy Spotify just to listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. But this is just he's just transitioned into like a fucking, like, where before, now, I am somebody who sees the errors in the left, and I do not wish to blame white people for everything. I do not. I do not think the SJW movement is something that I aspire to. But a lot of it is not cancel culture. A lot of it is consequence culture, where you're being a fucking piece of shit, and people hate that, and enough people hate that where they're gonna voice their opinions. That's not cancel culture. That's having consequences for your fucking actions, where before you didn't have consequences for your fucking actions. And that's just a line that has been crossed for me. And Joe Rogan knows he's fucking smarter than that. Joe Rogan is better than that. He is better than producing these horseshit fucking conspiracies and not giving you any of the alternative side of what's happening. And recently, Jon Stewart came to the defense of Joe Rogan. Now, I just assume that everybody who's coming to the defense of Joe Rogan just wants to be on the Joe Rogan show. Now, Jon Stewart said that when somebody compared Joe Rogan to Tucker Carlson, and Jon Stewart said that, quote, Rogan is not an ideologue like Tucker Carlson, end quote. Now, they were talking about the interview with Josh Zepps, the Australian reporter. Now, Joe Rogan denied the validity of peer-reviewed data and instead suggested the VAERS report of where you can just report whatever without anybody fucking checking you. So Joe denied peer review and instead suggested the VAERS report, and was in denial about Josh Zepps' credibility. That's exactly what Tucker Carlson would have done. I mean, Tucker Carlson has a show and he only puts you on for 5 minutes. If he put you on for 3 hours and you were talking, complete sense to him, that's exactly what Tucker Carlson would have done. Don't fucking tell me that's not what if Tucker Carlson had a 3-hour show and somebody was presented factual evidence, he would have totally said, well, hey, that's not the VAERS report. How can we trust that if it's not, if people aren't saying it? Man, bull fucking shit. It's exactly like Tucker Carlson. Joe Rogan is just becoming that. which is sad because, as I told you in the prior episode, I gained a lot of great information from Joe Rogan. I've gained a lot of fucking things that have helped my personal development about ketogenic dieting, about motivation, about finding personal motivation. But um, I don't have heroes. And with everybody, I do not hold anybody on a pedestal. And if somebody crosses certain lines, then that's it for me. And that's it for me with him. Like, how many more millions of people need to die, and how many little people are dying or having adverse reactions from the vaccine? Do you need to see? I mean, if you haven't seen by now, it's out of sheer ignorance. And how much anti government rhetoric and how much hate have you drummed up as a result of your denial of reality? And did you guys see Joe Rogan's quote apology? Did you guys see when Joe Rogan, because all these artists pulled their music from Spotify, and Spotify started to tank, and it lost billions of dollars. So did you see Joe Rogan have to when he had to make his apology about what happened? Do you know what that apology reminded me of? Do you guys ever watch South Park? When the episode where Cartman was with his mom, and his mom couldn't afford an iPad, so she had to buy him like the lesser version of the iPad, and then Cartman was in the store like, "Mom, you're trying to fuck me. Why don't you fucking buy me dinner? Because it's like I like to have a good dinner before I get fucked this good." And everybody thought that Cartman's mom was trying to rape him. And then in the car, when Cartman's mom decided not to buy anything for him, then Cartman's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know the F word was a no word." That is. Go rewatch Joe Rogan's fucking apology with that in mind. "Oh, I didn't know having the 1% of doctors that are anti-vaccine in favor of the 99% of doctors that are pro-vaccine. I didn't know that was a no. We're just having conversations, If you don't get vibes, if you haven't seen, if you don't get vibes of that South Park episode from that, then you're probably fucked up in the head like these other guys are, and are not actually researching the data, and are not going into it with a clear and open mind. So those were the types of vibes I was getting from Joe Rogan's fucking horseshit apology. And Spotify's not going to get rid of him. They're paying the musicians and the artists fucking pennies in order to have the most popular podcast in the world on their platform. Excuse me. But such is a world where if you do shitty things, then you get rewarded, which I hope we can at some point fucking grow past this collectively, and where we should seek good things, and we shouldn't watch things that are fucking bullshit. It's like that guy the fucking ginger kid who goes and fucking maces people on live stream on YouTube. He gets shit ton of views, makes shit ton of money doing a fucking horrible thing, but people are attracted to shit apparently, and much to the detriment of their well being in the future. And you know what? Like it's like we've had viruses before. I mean, you would figure if there is if there is like the right to bear arms, that and that's in the Constitution. Like, why don't we have like since fucking viruses and epidemics have been around for hundreds of years, even longer, the pestilence, even from biblical times. You would figure that the Constitution, if we have the right to bear arms, it would address something like about disease. Like, maybe there would be like a constitutional amendment, like the right to spread disease, like a filthy fucking sewer rat. Like they would that they would have that specified. And all these people complaining about, especially in Canada, complaining about your freedoms right now. Well, where were you when smoking was banned in buildings? Where were you when seatbelt laws were being passed? Where were you when stop and frisk was happening? Where were you when illegal search and seizure was happening? No, you didn't care, because all you care about is being personally inconvenienced, and you don't really care about freedom. So that's why I go against this horseshit trucker rally, which the majority of truckers in Canada are vaccinated, and 90% of truckers in Canada are vaccinated and do believe that you should be vaccinated in order to cross borders, especially with the amount of fucking disease spreading in the United States in the name of freedom. Yeah, you should be vaccinated if you're a fucking Canadian driver going into America and coming back. If you're a Mexican driver going from into America into Canada, yeah, how is that a fucking problem? Where are the 90% of fucking truck drivers that don't agree with you? And this was brought up, like, let's call a spade, and that this is right wing media funding them through GoFundMe in order to produce a narrative, because they're not going to go be the ones who protest about this. So they're going to go and pay other people to protest for them. And it's sad that that truckers have become the enemy, because there are plenty of good truckers, and I guarantee you the same people who have funded these rallies have not fucking spoken to a trucker in their goddamn lives. Like the vaccine having a worse outcome than the virus is like over 2 orders of magnitude dumber than what the actual reality of what's happening is. And if you're traveling state lines, especially in places that don't give a shit, I mean, I don't have a problem with requiring vaccine mandates. What happens if let's just worst case scenario. Let's say the worst properties of the Delta variant and the worst properties of the Omicron variant, which the Delta variant is the fatality rate, and the worst properties of the Omicron variant are the transmissibility. So let's say those fucking produce like a super transmissible and more deadly variant of the coronavirus, and it happens in the United States first, but we don't have these truckers vaccinated against it, which is preventing their ability to fight off a disease that they might not know they have, because the symptoms are asymptomatic up until a certain point, and they're spreading it without even knowing it, which is, by the way, the reason why ivermectin and monoclonal antibodies and all this other stuff is horseshit. Because if you don't know you fucking have it and you're taking it, then what fucking good is it doing other people? The only good that helps others is if you are vaccinated, and if your body doesn't know, if your body's fighting off something it has that you're not necessarily showing symptoms for. So, and you know what? I used to be a big follower of Jocko and the Jocko Willenick. And, he always spouts this shit about, like, being a leader and what being a leader really means. And then Jocko goes on Joe Rogan and literally fucking totally fucking bows to him while he's spouting off his horse shit reasons for not getting vaccinated. Oh yeah, Joe. That reminds, like, Jocko was literally eating Joe Rogan's asshole on the fucking podcast. Like, I want to see Jocko go into his next, like, hey Brandon, we're starting up with the podcast, and you know what good leadership is? Good leadership is getting down on your knees and eating Joe Rogan's asshole and not questioning it. Sometimes that is what good leadership means. Sometimes you have to get on your knees and eat Joe Rogan's asshole on his podcast. And when he says, I don't want you to go left to right, I want you to go counterclockwise, I want you to lick that asshole counterclockwise. You know what? A good leader goes and he licks Joe Rogan's asshole counterclockwise. You know what? So it's all just a bunch of fucking horse shit. And, I'm just glad that somebody like Josh Zepps finally fucking stepped up and called him out on this. And this is going to be a problem going forward. And, and that's not to say eventually we are going to have to live with coronavirus, I think, as long as the worst case scenario doesn't happen, where we have the merging of the of the worst properties of the Delta and the Omicron. And as long as that doesn't happen, then eventually we will have to live with corona, like we like we have had to live with the flu. But that doesn't like, who am I going to fucking remember at the end of the day? Is the people who are on the front lines of this fucking shit, the doctors and the healthcare workers who are tackling this shit selflessly. And who are the other people I'm going to remember? The other people I'm going to remember, who are the ones who fucking drew this out, are the ones who made this worse than it needed to be, are the ones who made the pandemic cause higher death rates because they politicized the pandemic and were not willing to step up and do what's right, because they wanted to fucking own the libs, And I am not a fucking liberal by any means, but you cannot produce societies in this way. You cannot have people just ignoring fucking science and fucking over everybody because you don't want to get a goddamn shot. I feel like this was a pretty heated episode of TWA2K, at least for the last portion of it. Let's put a pin in it. Let's wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the World According to Kyle podcast. See y'all again on the next one. Goodbye!